everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief contributor and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. Now, if you're listening to this on any of our audio platforms, please download this episode and more episodes, and don't forget to leave a 5-star rating. I'm thrilled to welcome my next set of guests. In fact, this is a trio just joined the podcast, and for the first time in a while. So as of this recording, they have over 251,000 monthly Spotify listeners, also 38,000 YouTube subscribers, 56,000 Facebook followers, 90,000 Instagram followers, and their latest album is called Becker. And they're going to be setting up on a European tour with stops in Vienna, Paris, London, and the Netherlands, all before ending their tour at the Roxy Theater on December 3rd in Los Angeles. Please help me welcome Cole, Max, and Cade Becker, aka Swimmers, through the podcast.
Hey,
Hello, thank you.
Thank you for having us. That's like the best intro we've gotten.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks
You're
for
so
having
welcome. You're so welcome, gentlemen. Thank you guys for coming on the 5th anniversary season.
Of course, having us.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let's get started. So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion involve and desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
When Max and I were kids, so we're all brothers, the three of us, if you couldn't tell. And when we were kids, we saw School of Rock with Jack Black, and we just saw that crazy guy up there on stage playing guitar really loud, and these really cool kids who were our age at the time rocking out with him. And we're like, we could do that. We want to do that. Let's do that. So we started a band, and we were, 10, 11, 12. And it was like a hobby at first. And then we started playing more shows and, started getting offers to go on tour. And that was all through high school. And then when we were like 18, 19, we started really touring a lot, and we changed our name to Swimmers. We released 2 albums. We were signed to a big label, and it's been a crazy ride, and but it was School of Rock basically.
All hail School of Rock. I actually had the opportunity to interview Brian Falduta, one of the School of Rock kids.
Whoa, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and guys, you can go check out our conversation after you listen to our conversation. But however, that's amazing that we have a connection, that this is like a serendipity moment of the shared moments.
That movie probably started more bands than are recorded. That movie is really, really important to pop culture.
I totally agree. So we got to not talk about School of Rock, but we got to talk about you guys. So who are the people that influence your sound?
We like everything. Like, I think we started off really into punk music because we could play it. But at the same time, we had a heavy dose of Beatles. We loved the Beatles, still love the Beatles, still love, 70s punk, The Clash. But then I think because we loved The Clash, we got really into mixing influences, which was cool as we got older because our music taste got more kind of all over the map. And so The Clash gave us this template for, you can be a punk band at first, but you can branch out and incorporate all these different influences seamlessly, and it can still be authentic to who you are. And so that's been a really cool template for us, as like, I think our music taste has changed a lot, and it changes with the seasons every day, so it gives us the template to be able to follow all the different things we like.
I think we love playing live, and we love our live shows, and so we're influenced by all the bands who are just known to be really great live. The Hives was a great example. We love stuff like that.
Awesome. Those are some really cool bands. So, okay, so it's been a decade since you guys had Swimmers moniker. So in your humble opinion, why has this thing stuck around compared to your other band name?
I think the thing is that's cool about Swimmers is it was the vehicle for the songs we wrote when we were in this transitional time from youth to adulthood. Um, our first band, Emily's Army, was very much like we were kids making that stuff. And so when we made Swimmers, it was very much with the intention to set ourselves up to have our, adult body of work out there. And the songs are, I think, just really like, we still play a lot of songs from that time, from that transition time, and something about them has this energy and this thing that people really connect with. And so when in the past we've tried to think like, oh, is it time to start a new thing, or change our name or something, we kind of always come back to the fact that people really have a connection with Swimmers specifically and the body of work we have.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool. And I gotta say this, Cade, you're entering your second year working with your brothers, Cole and Max. So how have you grown as a musician since you joined the family band? And for a follow-up question, Cole, Max, how has Cade grown?
Well, to start, I can plug myself in now. I before I would just show up and everybody would plug me in and set my levels, but now I'm starting to understand the base of everything. But I've been around it my entire life, and I would go on tour with them all the time as like a merch person. But so I was always listening, always a fan. So I think it's actually been a pretty smooth transition. And as I've grown the last like 2 years, I'm just trying to catch up in a way because these two they've been doing this for absurdly long time at this point for their age, like, and so my music age is so much younger than theirs. I'm just trying to work myself to get to their point and their level.
I gotta be honest, I love having Cade in the band. I think it's the greatest. It's the greatest. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to us. I know I've said that about a couple things, but him joining the band is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to us because after doing this for so long, you ask yourself, like, why do I keep doing this? And the reason you keep doing it is genuinely because you love to do it. And Cole and I have arrived at that answer that we just love what we do. And we also have a really tight family. And so the fact that Cade gets to be in the band, it makes it that much better. And that's why we do this. We love to do it and we love to share it with our family.
Yeah, and it's cool too. I think Cade is somebody who isn't afraid to share his opinion. And sometimes like if you like it takes a long time to develop a trust with somebody to make music, but Cade, even though he really only has been playing the bass for 2 years, he didn't really like he can sing a little, he knows rhythm and things like that, but um he picked up the bass really quickly, really diligently, and also we trust him, he trusts us to create stuff, and there isn't really like ego involved, which is great because usually if you're only 2 years into a musical relationship with somebody that's not your family, you still have a lot of communication to figure out. But I think we're just brothers, so we can communicate really easily and really forthrightly, which is nice.
I'm so glad to hear that. And besides, you guys, I had to, and look at Hanson. They've been around since the 1990s and they're doing wonderful things. And like, no matter what happens, it's really great. And like, look, and the Ramones, I could say with family members as well. Those are some pretty successful big bands. And there's not, and to be honest, in our generation, there's not a lot of family bands.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. There aren't like there, and I think, but there just aren't a lot of bands either. Like it's all like solo artists we live in now. And so I think what's cool and what's made this really sustainable for us, because it's hard to keep a band together, is that we are family and we do just like have that connection. And funnily, you bring up Hanson because one time we were walking through a park on our way to a show in Chicago, and this guy is doing a free stand-up set, and he goes, "Look, everybody, it's Hanson."
That's great. And besides, you could have multi-generational fans as well. So with this new era, and who soon knows, you might be dancing, you might be performing in heavy masks and on The Masked Singer.
Yes.
Did they do that? That's cool.
Yeah, they did that actually during the 5th season of the show. I think I've covered Masked Singer USA since its inception.
Whoa!
Wow.
Cool. Amazing.
Alrighty, we're not here to talk about Hanson or Masked Singer. We're here to talk about you. So we gotta talk about Becker. So how has this album, similar or different, be with your other records?
I think that this album takes someone. I was trying to explain this the other day, but I think this album has elements of every piece of art we've ever done. It's not really a departure so much as it's like we're kind of building and continuing forward on what we've done already. And the coolest part about this one is Cade's on it. And that's why we called it Becker, because this is the first time Cade's ever recorded. And I have to say, Cole kind of alluded to it, but he's an opinionated guy. And having him in the studio helped sway certain songs to go certain directions. And then the end result we were really thrilled about. So he's a total asset.
Wow, I'm gonna like get that like a clip right there and just show it to him every time he disagrees with me.
I'll try to have that clip up soon.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
All righty, so I took out some of the songs, my favorite songs from the album, and I would love to learn the stories behind the tracks.
Cool.
Perfect.
So let's start with Brand New Lungs.
Yeah, so that song is it's kind of a heavier song in terms of the subject matter, but it's heavy because it's about kind of finding a release from heaviness. I wrote it when in 2020 I got back from tour, and just a warning, I'm gonna just mention somebody died in our life, like right at the beginning of COVID. One of our friends we grew up with, and just a lot of craziness was going on everywhere, and it was kind of right before the whole world shut down. And I remember I went to the beach when I still lived in Los Angeles, and I just floated in the water, and I was just like floating, and I was like, I can finally breathe. And so that whole song kind of came in that moment, which was cool. And then, then we had that song for a long time. We made a version in 2020. And what's cool about this version actually is we weren't going to do that song, weren't going to do it. And then toward the end of the studio time, we were working with Wyatt, and we had started playing more with him in the capacity of just like playing music to record, not just like building the track out from stems. And so all of a sudden we were playing the song all together as a band, and we were like, this feels really good. And this is the same feeling as when I got in the water. And now, here's our song. And that's kind of the story behind that song.
Awesome. So the second song I have is Emo Kids.
There's sometimes the most fun songs don't even really have a story. we were just kind of messing around, and it ended up just being really fun to make. Sometimes when it has no meaning, it kind of makes it so that there's no pressure, and when there's no pressure, the art oftentimes can thrive. And that's just what happened there. We kind of we have auto tune. You know what I mean? We don't do that. We just did certain things in there. And I think the coolest part about it for me, that was also a song that had been originally conceptualized in like 2019, but we were kind of struggling with like, okay, how do we kind of melt, get this to sound like us and everything. And I was messing around with these crazy guitar chords that I had never seen before, but I just started like spreading my fingers out super wide like this. And they started making these really interesting kind of like 90s Nickelback sounding like butt rock chords. No shade on Nickelback, or any of those guys. They rock. All I'm saying is like we started making these chords that sounded like, yeah, this is a cool texture. And then we kind of built on top of that. And you'll hear, if you listen to that song, you'll hear the guitar doesn't actually, if you really listen with detail, like the guitar, you're like, is that two guitars? Is that one guitar? Because it's weird, the weird notes being hit.
And then there's the one thing I will say about the songcraft of that is that there just are different ways to like get into a song. And that's a song that's kind of from this other type of exercise, which is interesting and fun, where it started with a t-shirt that our sister's ex-boyfriend gave us as a hand-me-down, and I used to wear it in 7th grade, and it said emo kids have more fun. And I had this guitar riff, the part that's now na 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 na, and I just had it in my phone as emo kids have more fun. And that's basically where the song idea came from.
That's really cool. And I gotta say that speaking of cool, California Wintertime, I thought I heard a little bit of Green Day American Idiot guitar riffs in there. I thought I heard it when I was listening to it. It reminded me of like, because when Green Day's American Idiot, one of the greatest punk rock albums of all time, I was like, I was like, is that American Idiot when I was listening to American Wintertime? Because I was listening because I thought because I was. Or like, do you guys have that idea of a song that could have belonged to an American Idiot album?
I know exactly the part you're talking about, and I never thought about that. But I think it's cool. It's the Frozen on the Beach part, and the guitar is ba-da-da, ba-da-da. That's similar to Wake Me Up When September Ends, in my opinion.
Oh, interesting. That's not what I took at all. I sorry, but I was
let's discuss.
I feel like the tempo is Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It's like in that same pocket, boom, boom, and there's the shimmery guitars.
Okay. But that's cool that you heard that.
Yeah, you hear that because that was genuinely not. There are times when we reference Green Day and we're like, we want this to feel like this Green Day album or something, but not in that. So that's funny that you hear that.
That one was cool. We were trying to do our version of what like Oasis would have done, like Champagne Supernova Swimmers style. That was kind of what was going on in our minds.
And this is interesting that you like. We're hearing Green Day, we are hearing Oasis. There's a lot of different stuff with that. It's very fascinating what music can do.
Yeah, it is cool. The thing, like, it's interesting too with music because, it just does come like songs when you write them. At least for us, they don't come from they don't necessarily come from inside of you. They're just like an energy you pick up on, and so it's always interesting when that energy, like you kind of make connections. Oh, maybe this is tapped into the same energy as this,
Mm-hmm.
All right, that was sounding a little woo woo.
Yeah, that's who you are.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher this track name. DeLonge Song. That is one of the most uncanny names I've ever, in all my years covering music, that is the most uncanny name I have ever heard.
Thanks. That's funny. Yeah, that's a song about aliens. And when we finished it, we were like, oh, we should name this after Tom DeLonge, the singer of Blink-182, because he is obsessed with aliens. So that's kind of where that song came from.
It used to be called In Defense of Tom DeLonge, and then we were like, oh, that's really long. And someone was like, what about just DeLonge song? I'm like, that's great.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
simply, that was just kind of like Max and I tried out doing songwriting in like Emo Kids and DeLonge Song are both from a time in 2019 when we were trying out what it was like to write with other people. And it was a really cool experience. We went in and we made Emo Kids in one day and we made DeLonge Song in one day.
Earlier versions. Right?
Earlier versions. And so we just kind of had those. And then later on, we're like, oh, well, we're such like songwriters. Like, we don't really want to like do the session thing with people, or it just didn't feel right for us. Except with hindsight, we then listened to those tracks and we're like, these are great. These are like really fun. So then we took them and we went into the studio with them like, we should try these. And they turned out to be, two of the most fun and out there songs on the album. So
yeah,
they were out there, all right, but they're pretty cool.
Thank you.
All right, the last song is Sure As. I'm so sorry, everybody. I have to say it is the song title, Shit.
Yeah.
That's got a cool story to it.
Yeah, this is the song, Max and I both are now married. I wrote that song kind of in the time when things were starting to look more serious in my relationship and more serious in Max's relationship. And then, but the actual kind of like arc of the song is about this idea of like, I'm not sure of anything. Everything feels so uncertain. The only thing I'm certain of is you. And that actually came from our sister, who also at the same time things were getting more serious with her and her now husband, Jared. And the way that he proposed to her was basically at the end of a really long day at his job. He came and he was just like, oh God, everything is so messed up in my life. The only thing that's good, the only thing I'm certain of is you. And like, I was supposed to like propose to you on our like weekend trip, but I have the ring in my pocket. Like, let's get married.
Did he say like, I'm sure as shit? Like he actually said that.
Okay. No, actually. So this is a combo of two different things. Sure as shit, the phrase was something
Hawaii.
This guy
Hawaii.
This guy I lived with in Hawaii, Duke, used to say all the time. He'd be like, yeah, I went down there and like they said there was gonna be waves, and sure as shit there was waves. So it was always in my head. I always wanted to write a song called Sure as Shit.
Oh yeah, that's a very interesting, but that's another good conversation starter.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so earlier I mentioned that you guys will be heading to the European. You guys are going to be going on a European tour, and you'll also be ending at the legendary Roxy Theater in Los Angeles. So, what are you guys so much excited about this tour?
I mean, we love just playing anywhere, but we've always had a really special connection to our European and UK fans, and we're so excited to be back. And we haven't done this kind of tour in almost 5 years, 4 years. Or I haven't done this tour since early 2019. Cole went in 2020, but yeah, like we're really thrilled, and we're excited to close it off in Los Angeles at the Roxy. First time we ever played the Roxy, we were like 14 years old, so it's cool to bring it all back and finish the tour off there.
And Kate, this is going to be very special for you because now this might be the first show that you're going from, hey, I'm selling merchandise, to now you're playing on stage.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm really excited for the Europe shows. Those were always the most fun to tag along with. I was glad that they would let me go all the time because I would get really bad FOMO. So I'm excited to be out there and playing music myself now. So yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, we got to start winding down our conversation. So, I want each of you to think of your dream collaborators. It could be other singers, it could be other bands, it could be songwriters, it could be musicians and producers. And how would they enhance Swimmer's sound?
That's a really, really. Do they have to be alive?
Or dead?
Unfortunately, they have to be. Unfortunately, they have to be alive. So,
Okay.
I mean, that makes it easy for me though. Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
that would be like the GOAT. I every interview I see of him, he just has the best advice for making music, the best attitude. He seems really open-minded. And like, I used to be a John guy when I was a kid. It's like, John's the guy. Paul is just so good and so good-hearted too, which I like about him.
Mine would be Mike Campbell, the guitar player for Tom Petty. He is just, in my opinion, the greatest guitar player of all time. So he's still rocking, and he's got a lot of great insight on the internet. He like has YouTube videos talking about American Girl. These are just things that I really care about as a songwriter. So.
And me, I'm still really new to the songwriting and producing process. So right now, it's kind of just been everyone that I've worked with because everybody's been so kind and open to me learning. Dream, I don't know which dream collaborator because, oh man, I think it'd be really fun to. Sorry, Max just left out of nowhere. There you are. They both chose such good options. I mean, I really like the 1975 right now. That'd be pretty fun. Yeah.
that'd be a good group. I would also love to see you guys with Five Sauce.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that'd be really fun, actually.
Yeah,
I really like all their music. It's like really,
Yeah.
I think bands like that sometimes like there's more hype than there is songs. Like just in the sense that but sorry, that came out wrong. I mean, like there's so much like energy and crazy fandom around them that it distracts from how good the music is too, which is what I like about them. There's actually really good music at the bottom of it.
Yeah, really talented guys. We've been lucky enough to meet them a couple times, and they're always really cool.
That's great to hear because they're also dream guests of mine as well. Alrighty, guys. What social media platforms do you guys prefer to interact with your fans on?
Probably Instagram. Our Instagram is where we're the most active, for sure.
We also have a Substack email list.
Yeah.
That's great because it goes directly to people's inbox. And, Instagram, sometimes you don't see what we post. Nobody knows why. But, yes, either one.
Yeah. Join our community, join the Substack and Instagram. We love interacting with fans and creating a sense of community.
Awesome. So, guys, last question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Where can they find your music? And also, where can they get tickets to the Swimmers tours?
You can find physical copies of our record and tickets to all Swimmer shows at swimmersmusic.com. We have vinyl. We have limited edition colors of the vinyl. We've got cassettes. We've got CDs. And we got merch.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's
You got the
the first time in
Also-
podcast history.
That's really
there
funny.
he is.
That's
Alrighty. Max, you just did the first time in podcast history that you actually took yourself out of the podcast studio.
I know. I don't know what happened there. That was so interesting. Anyway, swimmersmusic.com.
Yeah. And then you can listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, all of them. So, yeah.
Alrighty, guys. If you missed an episode of the Jake Sick with Jacob Elyachar Podcast, visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Speakers. It's Jake Sick with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, if you want to find out more of my interviews, what my thoughts on Swimmer's Becker record, head to jakesactape.com, the blog that started all, jakesactape.com. Gentlemen, Cole, Cade, Max, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk to me today. I really appreciate it. And if you're ever in Kansas City, I would love to see you guys and treat you guys a barbecue and a show.
Thanks,
That'd be
Jacob.
awesome.
You're
Amazing.
so
Thanks,
awesome.
Jake.
We'd love
Very
to
nice to meet
barbecue
you.
with you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great night, everybody. Goodbye.